What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over some recent changes Fortnite made that you're going to want to know about, most notably the Shockwave Hammer getting vaulted. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what you think of these changes, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting any of the new Fortnite skins or anything else, it is EvolveJake. Just like my channel name is. So yesterday, Fortnite vaulted the Shockwave Hammer, and this is obviously a very big deal because this is a very impactful mobility item in the current loot pool, but just in general, one of the best mobility items we've ever had, especially in terms of efficiency, because it does come back over time. So you get very good mobility and you get a lot of value out of that one inventory slot. But it is now vaulted, and I am someone who is using the Shockwave Hammer pretty much every game, but I still think this is a pretty good change, and I think it's better for the game to have it be vaulted because the recent Fortnite update added 4 mobility items to the loot pool. We had the chainsaw, the crash pads, the witch's broom, and the Ghostface knife all added. And I think each of these mobility items were solid, but they were overshined by the shockwave grenades and the Shockwave Hammer. I think those 2 mobility items were just head and shoulders above the rest. And so with the Shockwave Hammer being removed, these other mobility items get more of a chance to shine and more of a chance to be used, especially if you are someone using a double mobility setup, because that's what I enjoy doing. And for the first day of Fortnite, I was just using shockwave grenades and Shockwave Hammer still, and I think that was, the best choice for double mobility. But now there's more room and there's more kind of back and forth. I also kind of wish they kept the teleporting mask in. It was surprising to see that get removed after just a week, but the teleporting mask would kind of create the same situation the hammer did, where it's just like better than all these other choices. Of these remaining mobility items, I think the Ghostface knife is what I would want to use in addition to the shockwave grenades if I was using double mobility, but you can really make a case for any of them, which I think is a very good thing. I think it is a sign of good balance if there are several choices that are viable in different situations, or at least something you have to think about. If one thing is just definitively the best and you don't have to think about, whether or not it's worth using something else, then I think that's, poor balance. So a lot of these other mobility items that were maybe less sought after are definitely going to shine and get more use now that the Shockwave Hammer was vaulted. Even though the Ghostface knife is my second favorite mobility item in the current loot pool, it actually was nerfed yesterday as well, with its max speed multiplier being reduced by 17% from 2.1x to 1.73x. This is just a change. As I said, it reduces your max speed, so you're going a bit slower, but it's not so drastic that it ruins the item at all. And I still think the Ghostface knife is a solid mobility item, but it does run into a lot of the other problems that similar sprint mobility items would run into, where you are somewhat beamable by enemies, you're kind of exposed, you're not going from point A to point B incredibly fast all the time. But it definitely is a convenient mobility item to use to travel around the map. And in the current loot pool, we do have Scooby Snacks and the exotic Flowberry Fizz, which will give you the slap effect, which give you unlimited stamina for a period of time. So that makes the knife a lot better. And there is somewhat of a trick to this knife that you can do to travel a bit faster and get a pseudo dash out of it. And that is going to be to jump, do a swipe attack, because you get a jumping attack with this knife. And then once you do that, you land in a slide and then just rinse and repeat. So you're jumping, doing your attack, sliding, jumping, doing your attack, sliding. And when you chain that, you can travel around somewhat quickly. You still are vulnerable to getting beamed by enemy players, but just if you have the stamina to do this, it works. The jump attack will consume stamina, so you will run out pretty quick doing this. But if you have one of the, those healing items to give you unlimited stamina, like the Scooby Snacks or the Exotic Fizz, and you can give yourself unlimited stamina, you can, chain this constantly without really have to think about it much, which makes it much more effective. And that is why, that's partially why the Ghostface knife is probably my second favorite mobility item in the loot pool, is that when you do this well, you can travel around really quickly. And I think this is probably the main reason why the speed was nerfed of it, just to kind of rein that in a bit. But it still is very good and very much worth using, I think. And the fact that it has somewhat set spawn locations around the map in the Ghostface booths make it a consistent item that you can get if you do know of several phone booths around areas that you enjoy landing, which being able to guarantee that you'll get your mobility, or at least have very high odds that you'll get your mobility, is another like huge point of value for this item, I think. Another very random change that happened yesterday is that there is only one weapon bunker now that will open per game. For all of this season, there was 2 bunkers that would open up at second zone, or when the OXR ranks were in the game, there was 2 bunkers that you would be able to open using your A rank. But now there's only 1 bunker per game, so this definitely decreases your chances of getting any one set exotic. And I think it just makes the bunkers way less of a point of value. I think with the Fortnitemares update reverting them back to exotics, I'm not sure how much I would have been going for them, because the only exotic I really want out of them would be either the Flowberry Fizz or the Wrecker Revolver, and I'm not too sure how I feel about the exotic Wrecker Revolver now with the recent nerfs to the Wrecker Revolver, reducing its damage and reducing its range. The exotic has lower base damage, and there was times where that would kind of grief you, and lowering that already lower base damage even further it makes it way less appealing to me. So I don't really see myself going for the bunkers that often, or the bunker, sorry, often. When there was 2, there would typically be 1 that was somewhat near you at least, but with it only being 1 on the map, I feel like there's a lot of games where it's just going to be so far away from you that you know that like by the time you get there, everything is already going to be like done and dusted with that bunker fight. So not too concerned about that 1 bunker anymore. And then the other final change I want to talk about is not actually a change at all, and that is going to be that the Scooby Snacks are not vaulted. So there was a rumor going around that the Scooby Snacks got vaulted, and this is because they got vaulted in Delulu, and then a lot of leakers and a lot of news accounts just like started saying that like they were vaulted entirely. And so if you saw those posts, or maybe a friend told you the Scooby Snacks already got vaulted, that is not the case. They're still in the loot pool. It was just they vaulted them in the Delulu mode. But in regular BR, regular zero build, you'll still be able to get the Scooby Snacks just fine. But that is going to be it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Shockwave Hammer being removed from the game. Are you happy or are you sad? And if you enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. I think he's the exotic revolver. Hey, nice, bro. Thanks, bro. GG's. Thank you for the revolver gift. I was gonna say, I don't know if this car was just there when I was there previously. Redman. He's getting shot in the back now. That's good for me because his timing was bad. Trying to go to like a lower part on the mountain and see if I had line of sight on him, but nothing fried me. It's also not what I wanted. I want to be on the edge of the mountain, but maybe works out. I don't know if I want to keep pursuing this. I didn't see how... Okay. I was going to say, I didn't see how weak the car was. If I knew his car was weak, I'd be way more inclined to keep pushing it. He's in this bush. Oh, wow. I don't know where he went then. I thought for sure he like stopped at this bush and then was like healing in there, and I was going to mark it. I got like really close before activating the phone though to make sure I would mark the bush. The fact that he's not in there makes me think he's like, yeah, I was going to say he's in this house. I have 5 seconds on my mark. But all the damage I did to him is probably gone too, because we saw him fizzing. And I don't know what happened to the other player. They were like across the bridge behind us earlier, and they were far enough away to where I thought I could like get this kill and get out before they got here. But that's kind of no longer the case. He's gonna witch his broom away, I'm pretty sure. But now's a very good time to fight him because his mobility is on cooldown. I only have 1 shockwave after this, so. That's why I waited to push, though. Like, I know he has the Witch's Broom because he used it earlier. So I just want to pressure his cover there. Make him use his Witch's Broom, get damage, and then Shockwave on him once we know his Witch's Broom is on cooldown. The final player's at that shack. I don't even know if they're real. They like shot him in the back earlier and made him like reposition, so I thought they were real, but I think they're actually an AI. GG's. That was definitely a unique game.